Well, what's crack-a-lackin'? Amber, I appreciate you having your cam on. I know everybody moving around. Donnie, I appreciate you too. Don on the Zoom, and it looked like he had work. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you tuning in this Saturday, bro. But in that, we're gonna kick this thing off, chapter 6 and 7. I'm gonna let Marcus open this thing up because he has somewhere to be in about 10 minutes. So, real fast, to you, Marcus, go ahead, player. Let's get it.
I appreciate it. Fire round, y'all. Real quick, chapter 6. I'm just kidding. And it's good to see everybody. Happy Saturday. For those for those who are catching back up, chapter 6 and chapter 7, I think are so pivotal to your overall continued progress in financial growth and what I am learning in diversification, so that we can actually step into the experiences, the abundance, and the resources that we all have been after for some time. So I really love rereading these chapters because in chapter 6, I'm gonna be careful because I'm dying. There's definitely one thing from chapter 6 that I wanted to read, and it always stands out to me every time I read this chapter. It says, financial intelligence is a synergy of accounting, investing, marketing, and law. Combine these four technical skills, and making money with money is easier than most people would actually believe. When it comes to money, the only skill most people know is to work hard for it. And the entire chapter is him talking about putting learning and putting growing your mindset over you working for money. And for the longest time, I would attempt to implement this without fully believing in this concept that it is actually simpler than we think. He literally said accounting, investing, investing, marketing, and law. I think the only thing that I am getting more intentional about that I've struggled with for some time, and shout out last year's book club because it's recorded and I definitely said I needed to work on it, is the law section. But when it comes to accounting, to marketing and investing, your boy's on point, y'all. I wanted to give myself some flowers because I've been working really hard on it. And I literally took what he said verbatim. I didn't try to add my own what I think he's saying. Those four things you can look up on Google and you can get a clear understanding of what they mean. And then you can work towards actually putting that into practice. Shout out this man, Jason. We were talking about how we started investing together and where we're at in our mindset as investing, and where the markets are at and where we're at. Talking to Mikhail the other day on how we got started in the skill set with trying to figure out how to invest with Bitcoin. And that led into really opening the door and the Pandora's box to everything financial literacy. It was just very, very important that you don't overlook the one word in that transcript that I read to you guys, and that synergy. We were reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, brother. You're crazy. I love you. But uh, chapter 6, in that synergy requires a harmonious aspect of multiple parts. It's not one thing over the other. I know some peeps in my life that are banking on getting extremely financially wealthy on just the avenue of investing. And my friends, that is not the case. I know a lot of heads that are holding XRP, that are holding some stock even, and they're just betting on this extreme, abundant financial breakthrough. And what's going to be crazy over the next 5 years is people are going to get there and most are going to lose it, or most are not going to know how to actually manage it. And shout out this space, shout out y'all for spending some time and being intentional. Oh, I got to exit here. And being intentional about all of that, because what that allows you to do is now we've created an entire mastermind where money is being communicated, talked about, and worked with and utilized as a tool through multiple individuals and not just one. And at the end of the day, y'all, commerce is an exchange of goods from one hand to the other. So we're really creating like community economics, fam. And that's what chapter 6 really like reminded me of, is because it took me putting learning over working for money for a very long time for me to be in a position where I can capitalize on it. And I think people want this expedited type of instant gratification. And when they get there and they get that, as Jim Rohn said, the money's going to meet you where you're at. So if you're not learning and you're not growing and you're not excelling in those areas, then you're essentially wasting your time. You're doing a whole bunch of nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very proud of everybody on this call because we're actively taking the steps and we're making dang, did it really take me on the toll? That's crazy. That's so annoying. Okay, anyways, uh last thing I wanted to touch on real quick. Oh, there's so many good things, y'all. These are like my favorite chapters. I'm so upset I have to work today. Okay. Whenever he talks about the job, right? Just over broke. He goes, job security meant everything to my educated dad. Learning meant everything to my rich dad. What matters most to you? I'm just gonna leave you with that question if you didn't ask that yourself. And then he touched on McDonald's, right? Being excellent at business systems. The reason so many talented people are poor is because they focus on building a better hamburger and know little to nothing about business systems. Oh my gosh, y'all, the conversations I've had over the last 24 hours, it's never been more evident. And I'm so grateful, bro. Shout out you, Mikhail, having a business partner that thinks on the same time, in the aspect of how do we improve our systems so that the burger is not, you don't have to think about the burger. The burger's a byproduct. You know what I'm saying? And as we've read in this book already, McDonald's is not even making their bread off the burgers. They're making it on the real estate because they understand how to move the money and operate as a business. And as we've been stepping as entrepreneurs and brand and business owners, investors, y'all, I've been really peeping how people have been authentically walking more boldly than they have in the past. And I'm very proud of y'all too. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to give y'all some flowers as well, because as most people's focus is on how do I build a better burger so I can make more money, you guys are focused on how do I build better systems for my life, for my business, so I can build a better life, not just have the more money. The money's a byproduct, period. Overcoming obstacles. For most people, the reason, oh, that's so crazy that it really just, for most people, they stop because of the fear of losing money over, I can't even remember what it said. Hold on, y'all. I just parked. Give me one sec. I just don't want to be driving off. Looking for this. I had it up. Okay, cool. Chapter 7. Sorry, fam. Sorry. For most people, the reason they don't win financially is because the pain of losing money is far greater than the joy of being rich. I see so many people get taken out of the game because they're looking at what they have not gotten as a sorry about. They're looking at as a like their P&L and they're focused on the red rather than looking at, oh wow, this is what I've invested so far, and this is what's gonna give me my return long term. Period, point blank. As long as I stay consistent, as long as I move and I focus, then eventually that red will be far outweighed by the green. For the longest time, y'all, I've spent well over $150,000 on my own personal development and learning and overcoming obstacles, better solutions, better people, better environments. And in doing that, I knew one day I'm gonna wake up and that entire 150K that I spent, I will make in a month, in a day. I know that's possible because I'm more excited about the abundance that I'm gonna have with the resources that come with the wealth versus being afraid and annoyed about what I might lose or what I've already lost. I didn't lose anything. I've always invested, and I've only invested financially intelligent now, where what I've lost is what I could lose. So, anyways, much love, y'all. I appreciate you. I'm gonna pass the mic. Jason, you got the floor, bro. Appreciate you.
Okay, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What's going on, y'all? Sorry, I haven't been on the last few book clubs. You know what I mean? But we here. All right. Like Marcus was saying in the beginning, as I was reading through it, I I was looking at some of the notes that I took last year and some of the things that I remember talking about last year. And we have grown so freaking much because I remember being scared. I remember being fearful. I remember like being like, is this actually gonna pay off? Is this gonna be like something that I take to the next level? Is it gonna be, you know what I'm saying, something that I truly want to do in my life? Is this the purpose that God has for me? I was asking myself all those questions last year, and now I can completely tell myself that how does he say? A little bit of learning of everything is better than just constantly focusing on one thing, right? And diving my putting myself in position to actually be successful, not just for myself, but for others as well, is that I feel like was the true goal that I was after. And I didn't realize it then, but now that I'm starting to see it, it's actually taken off to a whole different level, right? And going back to that, well, I'm trying to find it. I had it marked in here. Marcus was talking about how like just that, like just over broke mindset. I was always focused on I had a very negative mindset towards money. I really did. Whenever you're in a position to where like you finally have it, or like you're finally not in that paycheck to paycheck life, it's really hard to break out of that habit because you get so comfortable. You know what I mean? It's called comfortability. It's complacency because you don't want to go back to where you were struggling and things like that. So you get very complacent and then you kind of just stop learning. You don't, because you're like, in a sense, your subconscious mind is like, you made it, you're good, you're chilling. And then I stopped learning, right? But it wasn't until I started actually investing my money in multiple different avenues and actually going for those risks that I actually started seeing the fruits of my labor, right? I could have stayed in that same mindset and just been like, you know what? I know where I'm at, I know where I'm good, but I would have just collapsed on myself. I would have created a black hole in my own thoughts because I would have been going backwards and I wouldn't have been able to push the light that I was able to produce over the past year. You know what I mean? To actually be able to go forward and accomplish my goals. So that's my biggest thing on chapter 6 is get out of that get out of that fear of looking at money as a lifeline. I always looked at money as a lifeline, and I was completely wrong. And I'm glad that I got proven wrong by Mikhail and Marcus many, many times when they told me, like, hey, bro, stop looking at it like that. Look at it, change your perspective just a little bit. Or, hey, we have different avenues. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? It's having that leadership to point you in a direction that they understand will work if you actually put your mind to it, right? And you put your will and your work towards it. It will actually work for you. So that's what I have for 6. Let me get to 7 real quick. Overcoming obstacles. Fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, arrogance, right? Oh man, I had no idea how much bad habits I had that I broke within the past like year. I had so many bad habits. I'm talking about like I was a lazy individual. I didn't realize how lazy I was. Like truly, I was truly lazy. I was just like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And I always I don't know how y'all are, but I have a habit of putting like things in a timely manner. Like this is gonna take about this long, this is gonna take about this long, this is gonna take about this long. And then there you go. I go counting time when I should be counting moments. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm subconsciously like negatively putting myself in positions that aren't gonna help me because I was focused on all the wrong things. Right. So overcoming these obstacles and actually going for the things that you want is going to put you in positions that you're not even ready for. Like it's going to be a lot better than you can even imagine in a lot of different ways. So don't look at the negatives. Always change your perspective to a positive limelight because you never know who you're going to touch or who you're going to bring to the table, and they just might be the cup of tea that you've been waiting for, and together y'all are going to take it to the next level. You know what I mean? But that's pretty much what I got. I've grown a lot, and I'm very thankful for our community and what we do on an everyday basis. It ain't just like a weekly basis that we hop on this call. It's literally an everyday. The moment that you wake up, you make a decision whether you're going to live in fear or faith. You make a decision whether you're going to let that obstacle hold you back or if you're going to overcome it. And not making a decision is still making a decision. Don't forget that. All right. Uh Marcus was the first one to go, correct? So I am going to popcorn Amber. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, everyone? I love everyone's take so far. Um, good morning, guys. Okay, so this chapter, overcoming obstacles, like honestly, there's so many good points. What was the chapter before that? It was work to learn, right? That was the chapter. Okay, so one thing that I'm really excited about, like what I got from that chapter is just how important it is to build our skills, like when it comes to our financial literacy. And recently, my job gave us the opportunity to take this negotiating course. And we don't do any negotiating like in my job, like in my role. And so we took this course. It was like 4 days, and then I looked up the course, and it was really, really, it was really good course on negotiating. And I looked it up, and it was like $1,000 per person. So I talked to my boss, and I just told her that I was just like so grateful that she gave us that opportunity to take it. And she said, yeah, like she just said like she thought it would be cool for us to take, and she just wanted us to do it. And like me knowing the value of like taking these courses and educating ourselves, I was like so freaking grateful, because we really don't do anything in our job with that. Like she just really wanted us to have that knowledge, and so grateful for that. And so whenever I was reading this chapter, I really loved like to know that that's real. Like we really do have to put ourselves in a position to learn certain skills, right, to manage money. And so one of the first things that he talked about in that chapter was the importance of learning how to sell. And I know Mikhail talks about this all the time, but learning how to sell is important. Like that's one thing that we're always going to do all the time. And I think a lot of times that we get caught up in the things that we want to do, like our passions, the things that we like to do. And at the end of the day, like one of my coaches said this a couple years ago, she was like, don't be like the best kept secret. Like, don't like learn all these things and be this whole powerful person, but you don't ever tell anybody, or you don't ever put yourself out there and actually like sell yourself and sell your product. So that's one thing that I really, really like. And when it comes to marketing, one thing that I wanted to share, because another mentor of mine said this too, and it really just like clicked for me, because she just said it in such a simple way. But marketing is just saying the same thing over and over and over again in 100 different ways, right? And so one thing that I've learned, like when it comes to having a message and marketing yourself and like selling yourself, it's really like about doing the inner work, doing the work to get really clear on who you are, what your product is, and just being creative with talking about the same thing over and over and over again. Like for example, like Nike, they're just saying just do it 100 different ways. Like at the end of the day, it's always just going to be just do it, just buy the clothes, just do this, just do that. And it's just like a different, all the different sports, this and that, but it's the same message, it's the same thing. So I really like that. When you talked about learning by osmosis, I really loved that example, because it's true, like that's how I feel like I learn, like by just, putting yourselves in the position to learn from other people. You know what I mean? Like that's why like I get on these calls like with us, because we're learning, right? We're listening to other people, we're getting different perspectives, and it's getting into our brain more and more and more. And so one of the things that I wrote was like learning by osmosis, then building a system. And so building a system to learn. And recently I've been really obsessed with building systems. And I don't think recently, I think I've always been obsessed with building systems. Like, I don't know, I just really like making things simple. And that's what systems do. Systems help you save yourself time, energy, and money. And so one thing that I've been talking a lot about in the Powerful Creator community is honestly building systems for every single category of our life and just, getting serious about it. And when it comes to our financial literacy, we have to have a system. Like we can't just like we're not just gonna like be rich and get all this money and just figure out what to do with it like day by day. No, like there's systems in place for us to be able to handle, certain amounts of money, for us to be able to distribute certain amounts of money. And so one thing that I've been working on and we've been working on in the community a lot is really asking ourselves, like, one is asking yourself, like, starting where you're at, like, what is your business system, right? Asking yourself, like, what is my business system? What is a business system? Like, not a business system, a financial system. Like, what is my financial system? What is my money system? How do I manage my money? How do I organize it? What is going on here? Like doing the work to really ask yourself those questions, and then starting with where you're at. Like now, because of this book, because of this work, we know that we need a system. We know that we have to put things in place, right? So continuing to ask the questions like, okay, what are the different things for me to put together? And as you ask yourself those questions, you begin to build your system. You start learning what a budget is. You start learning what different tools are, and you start to create your own system for yourself based on what you're learning and where you're at. And one thing I'll tell you right now, like this call is part of our system. And one thing that's really important for anybody's system when it comes to their finances is the financial literacy part. We must grow our financial literacy every single day, listening to something new, reading something new. There should always be a financial book in rotation in your system, like within your life all the time. And so this is another reason why, like the value of these calls right here, because this is part of my system. Being able to be plugged into this call keeps me and my financial system sharp, my financial literacy like sharp, So that's a lot that I've been thinking about recently, and just putting all those pieces together, like learning the basics, learning the foundation, and then honing in on different subjects for yourself, like understanding what a budget is, understanding how, to work your own budgets, and just getting into those different categories, but allowing yourself to actually do that work. And that's what's really, really important, is like the fact that the information is out there. We have the steps, but sitting down day by day, week by week, and paying attention to what you are building, paying attention to where your money is going, that's what makes a difference. Like he talked about it in the book, a lot of the difference between the rich and the poor is that the rich had more, like they knew more, they had more time to study, they had more time to apply these principles, and the poor and the middle class were too busy working. And I think he talked about it in the book as well, that like the worst thing that you can do is being busy, like doing nothing, like working, like doing all this stuff, like we have to make sure that we're spending our time and energy actually focusing on what's important, like income producing activities, what is actually making money right now, right? And what are we doing with that, So that's what I got for that. I think the last point in that first chapter was when he talked about the power of giving. And I'm really, really big on this. Like the main principle that my brand is built off of is, the law of sowing and reaping, the law of giving and receiving. And I've heard, like, there's the one thing that's common when it comes to money and when it comes to like every wealthy person I've ever talked to or learned from is their perspective on giving. We must be givers. Like we must, like we cannot operate. The thing about money that we have to understand is that it's not real. There's no such thing as a lack of money. It's literally energy. Like, so that like one person having money that's not taking away another person's money. Like money, infinite amount of money. So whenever, like, we have to have the perspective of like, we're never losing. Like like when you invest your money, when you give your money, when you bless somebody else, it is always going to come back tenfold, some way, somehow, no matter what, right? If we are afraid to give because we, feel like we're going to lose it, we feel like it's not going to multiply. We are so powerful that what we think is what's going to happen, and like we have to build our, like that muscle, that giving muscle, that investing muscle to sow it, to give it and to not feel bad about it. And even like when it comes to paying our bills, right? We have to even pay our bills in a high vibration. We have to feel good about what we're doing. If we're paying our bills and being like, oh my God, I hate paying bills, I hate giving money, to other people, like, or whatever, we have to understand what we're doing. Like, no, like, we are abundant, we are rich, we're grateful to pay these bills. Like me, I'm so happy and so grateful to pay these bills. Like, here, take it. Like, yes, thank you. I'm so grateful for all my stuff, so grateful for everything it provides. Like, you know, and so yes, that's what I got from that. And I think that's it. I think that's all I have to share. Okay, I'm going to choose Roshizi. Thanks.
Hey, y'all. Thanks everybody for sharing. And I let's see. I wanted to talk about in the chapter 6, the story about the lady. People were already talking about it, the power of like learning more and like specifically learning how to sell, right? So the story at the beginning, I love how the lady comes up to Robert and it was like, what did she say? He was like a inspiration to her, and she wanted to know. She said, "Someday I'd like to be a best-selling author like you." And she was this good writer. She had a master's, and she was a professional, and all these things. And but when he asked her like what stops you from achieving your dreams, she was like, oh, my work, it never sells, like nothing ever happens. um and he was like, why don't you go to school to learn, or why don't you do this training to like learn how to sell? And she started tripping on him like, why would I do that? I don't like salespeople. And she snapped. She was like, I'm a professional, I went to school and got trained to be a professional, and like, I'm not a salesperson. I hate salespeople, all they care about is money, right? And then Robert Kiyosaki just felt like, why did I even try to help her? Because she wasn't willing to receive the help. But his point was like, he ended up pointing out to her, he was like, look at my book, right? It says best-selling author, not best writing author. He was like, I'm actually a terrible writer, but I know how to. He was like, I'm a terrible writer. You're a great writer. I went to sales school. You have a master's degree. Put them together and you get a best selling author and a best writing author. And she was so pissed. But I feel like this story is a great example about how people will think that their professional training is like the top tier, like that's their lid, Like, I went to school, I got my 4-year degree, like I'm an expert in this, like, and I can't do any better than that, like this is the way. Um, and I don't know what I got from this is that, and I think it was this chapter, but maybe it was one of the previous chapters where he was like, you're always one skill away from like becoming your most successful self, or leveling up, basically, right? Learning one more skill might take you just that much further. And like, if this lady would have taken his advice, taken the little sales training, she could have became a best-selling author, right? Like Marcus said, it's simple. And we make it a lot harder than it needs to be. So I just really like that story. And it's also like crazy, because if you're gonna go up to somebody and be like, I want to be a best-selling author like you, and then not take their advice, like, that's insane, like, he's the literal expert and you're telling him that what he's suggesting to you is not gonna work, or that you're not gonna do it. You don't really want to be a best-selling author. So yeah, from that too, I learned that, like, take the advice, like, I don't have to listen to everybody, but when it comes to the people who have what I want, like, listen to them and do what they do, right? We talk about that all the time. So that, I think, was my biggest takeaway and what I wanted to talk about in chapter 6. Chapter 7, overcoming obstacles. This is a really good chapter. He talked about um there are 5 main reasons why financially literate people may still not develop abundant asset columns that could produce a large cash flow. The 5 reasons are fear, cynicism, laziness, and bad habits. And Amber talked a little bit about laziness. That's the one I wanted to talk about too, just because that point about how busy people stay busy, or he said the most, let me just read it before I misquote, but he said often busy people are often the most lazy. They if they aren't busy at work or with the kids, they're often busy watching TV, fishing, playing golf, or shopping. Yet deep down, they know they're avoiding something important. That's the most common form of laziness. Laziness by staying busy. And the reason why that one stuck out to me the most is because I resonate with it the most. Like I'm always busy, and I've always been busy. I think that my busyness now is more productive than it's been in the past because I'm more intentional. Um, but like I used to always be busy, like and didn't get any results from my busyness. And I've seen it in the way that my mom lives. Like growing up, my mom was always busy working. Um, and like we didn't get to spend a lot of time together. And like I learned from that like I'm never gonna be too busy working to spend time with my daughter. Like fuck that. I would rather we can be broke and we at least we're spending time together. Like um that's and I like we're not going to be broke, but I just like I will never use my time to be too busy to work to like do the things that I really care about. And there's a lot of busy work that like I can get really distracted with like having to make money and work or having to go to school or having to just take care of responsibilities in life, right? And forget that like I'm the most important person in my life and I need to focus on what I need to focus on to get me to where I want to go, to where I want to be. Time is the most valuable currency there is. Yeah, for real. And you can't get your time back. So, I think that was the biggest one that I wanted to point out. The one about the bad habits is good too because um it says our lives are a reflection of our habits more than our education. And he talked about Arnold Schwarzenegger and how he was all buff and good looking. And there was a cynic in the group, right? That was like, I'll bet he was born that way. But nobody's born looking like that. Like everybody has to put in the work to get to where they want to go. And people people be so quick to like justify their bad habits. I used to. I will still justify some bad habits sometimes just because like it's it can be tough to overcome habits. Like what's the saying where it's like old habits die hard, you know? But if we want to be better, we have to do better. And so I think that's all I'm gonna say. I'm about to eat. I'll call on Chi Town.
Sorry, I'm out and about and I'm on the move. So I'll make this as quick as possible. I missed a lot of the conversation, but I missed most of the conversation, but I definitely read both chapters and chapter six, and I'm pretty sure everyone, if not mostly, I touched on this in chapter six, where it's talking about. Let me refresh my memory real quick. Because I know chapter seven is about, I'm gonna go backwards. I'm gonna just start with chapter seven, overcoming obstacles. And I know y'all spoke on laziness, which is extremely like important because a lot of people don't realize the laziness is not, oh, you're not doing anything, or oh, you're staying in bed, or you're not getting nothing done. Laziness can also be you're being productive in the wrong ways. And amongst the other things that he noted in like the obstacles, I feel like that's the one that most people overlook because they're being productive. And that's the one that most people kind of ignore when they're being productive, especially the story about how the guy, his wife left him with the kids. He took the kids and moved on because it's just like you're not even putting in effort for your family, but your main excuse is work, and that's just really not fair. Amongst that, just reviewing, overcoming bad habits. We all have them. Like we all have them, and it takes a strong person to really identify their habits and know what's a good habit and what's a bad habit that needs to break. And it takes consistency and effort to break those habits. Um, Going back to chapter six, Going back to chapter 6 oh, working to learn. And yes, Roshiji just mentioned about the sorry, my brain is buffering right now. A lot going on. But the moment that I think one of my favorite moments that he mentioned was like the Jerry Maguire line, like show me the money and stuff like that. Because a lot of people are focused on like what their outcome is always going to be. Like, what am I going to get out of this? And if I feel like I'm doing something to get money, I think that's more important than learning and growing and honing a skill to be better. And it all goes back to the compounding effect. Like, if you think the if you think a lot right now is more important than building up a little over time, you're not going to get that far in life. And yeah, job equals just over broke, you know what I mean? It just putting in enough effort to get paid, but not enough effort to do for yourself and build something long term. So that's what I got from chapter 6 and 7. And yeah, I feel like, am I the last one, or can I pass this thing off, or did everybody go?
Yeah, you can popcorn somebody.
Who didn't go so far?
Mikhail hasn't went, Donnie hasn't went, Imani hasn't went, Wale hasn't went, and Daryell, he's new. He's somebody that I got started up with the family yesterday, but he's also new and he hasn't went either.
Okay, well, I'm gonna pass it over to my boy Donnie.
Yeah, I am gonna spin the block at the end because I ain't read and I just hopped on to catch some insight and I'm at work. So appreciate you, Shai. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Um, I'll go ahead and go with Mikhail.
Bet. Well, what up, though? Appreciate you being here, Don. You know what I'm saying? Real life, I do. And then I just missed your whole take, Chi-Town. I'm gonna have to come back for that. Real life. I was trying to hop on the other phone, and my brother called. Been a lot, but we here. Everybody who I did hear this morning, y'all been snapping, and y'all know from those of you guys who have been a part of book club for a year or two, like this is one of my favorite chapters of this book. Just like these two, because he really talks about some things that, as Amber said, I am very adamant about. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes down to it, you have to learn to sell, to speak, and to lead. They're timeless, transferable skills that literally will help you do everything that you actually want to do. And in that, the key to building that long term wealth, the key to doing that sustainably, is to be able to hold this standard of leadership, which is really just being adaptable and consistently growing your capabilities, putting your best foot forward. And in that, like if you consistently stay in action, you'll stay leading. If you consistently work on your skills, you'll get better. And if you consistently get better and you stay leading, eventually what happens is you become the success story. Period. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. And I just love that because it's truly like it's universal, and it doesn't matter if you're freaking trading, it doesn't matter if you're building a music business, a marketing business, no matter what you're doing, it just goes hand in hand because those are the three skills that you actually have to learn at the end of the day: to sell, to speak, and to lead. Period. When it came to all of my notes, they're kind of like everywhere, so I'm just gonna go through. I'm pretty sure I didn't actually start taking notes till chapter 7, and then I went back and spun the block on chapter 6 and just mapped it out because chapter 6 is like in me, not on me. You know what I'm saying? Type of vibe. So that's just what it is. But in that one, he talked about a few roadblocks, and I wrote these down. These are the first things I put in my notes. I put even financially educated people fail to build wealth because of emotional and mental roadblocks. And those 5 that he had named were: 1, fear, especially the fear of losing money; 2, cynicism, doubting opportunities and listening to negative opinions; 3, laziness, Amber just talked about it, avoiding money making actions under the guise of being too busy; bad habits, like paying everyone else first instead of yourself; and arrogance, thinking you know everything and refusing to learn more. And so in that, like from there, ultimately everybody experiences those things. We're all human beings. The difference between the wealthy and the not wealthy is when they experience the fear and the doubt, they just move through it. So if you stay disciplined and you consistently learn and you have courage, you literally can overcome the inner roadblocks. And as you consistently do that, what happens is your story begins to change. The story that you tell yourself begins to change, and the story that others tell you about your life begins to change. And at first that change is a little bit uncomfortable, and then from there, eventually you become, like I said, the success story. But in that story changing, like that's a key part. And another thing I wrote down it just popped up in my head. I think I put this at the bottom. Boop, 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 boop. Dang, it's crazy because I know for a fact that I just wrote this down in my notes because I was thinking about it while y'all were talking. Boom, here it is. So in that, we're just going to jump to my next note. People often stay stuck in jobs because they fear trying something new or being bad at it at first. It's real life. People stay stuck in businesses for the exact same reason. People stay stuck in their life for literally just that fear. And ultimately, what happens in that process, and here's what I've seen, is people turn that fear into like specialization, and they like just remove they CYP on the fear, but at the end of the day, they're still staying in inaction. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're like, okay, I'm just gonna go become a specialist in this field. And truly, what Robert broke down is that specialization actually limits growth. And I want to talk about that real quick because in Think and Grow Rich, it's one of the chapters is literally specialization. And so in that, I know that when we're reading all of these books, sometimes they contradict each other. It's similar to how the Bible does. But if you actually literally go and read everything in its entirety, and it's the reason why I always say like, yo, it's not about who reads the most books. It's about who reads the right books the most times. The reason being is because you can overstand these things and kind of start to see what's in between the lines as you read these things a multitude of times, because you understand different things at different levels. And ultimately, what Robert's saying here is when it comes to building wealth and overall being a successful entrepreneur, you must be well-rounded. Period. Look at any of the greats. I love that. Jason and Selena, the little cheers. But in that, it's like, look at any of the greats. They are all well-rounded. Yes, they have a specialized field, but they are all well-rounded entrepreneurs. The key, and then I wrote the key for me in my life, and this is just how I move, take it or leave it, it's up to y'all, but know a little bit about a lot so you can network and meet people in the spaces and then work with them because they're more efficient in their field. And ultimately, that will help you build wealth faster. And it'll put you in the spirit of collaboration over competition. A majority of people today, they don't understand how to collaborate. It's honestly wild. But in that, it's literally just putting your own skills, your own value back for a second, being interested in a person, networking with them and understanding them. And then once you understand this person is way more developed in that space than I am, actually figuring out how to work a win-win situation so that you can collaborate and actually grow your businesses, grow your lifestyles together, period, and leverage one another from what you're good at to what the other person's good at. That's literally the key of a relationship, I believe. So in that, definitely some cool notes in these chapters, ultimately. I also just wrote down some thinking points. So one, the more specialized you become, the more you're trapped and dependent on that speciality. So just like some questions that I jotted down to think about. Are we building flexibility into our careers and income streams? What new skill could we start learning that would increase our financial options? And then also, the primary difference between a rich person and a poor person is how they manage fear. So like, how do you respond to financial fear? By avoiding risk or learning to manage it? Like, you literally got to think about it. Like, are you building just skills or are you building income streams? Because when you're building income streams, what happens is you've got to, one, move through the fear and manage that fear. and actually build the skill enough to a point where it gets sustainable. And then from there, just like we talked about earlier, like, yes, you can specialize in your field, but you've got to diversify. And as you diversify, whether we're talking about your investment portfolio or your skill sets, like what happens is you can literally create that flexibility between the career, between your income streams, between your skill sets, and you can be able to make everything kind of flow together. And that right there is literally how you increase your financial options. Like it's literally just magically putting all of these pieces together inside of who you are and creating the optimal person. And as you are creating your optimal person, like this is complicated and you've got to take time to ask yourself questions. And really, it's the reason why we have this space in the book club, so that as you're reading, you can get these questions answered by people who are way more successful than you, period. And then from there, once you get the answer, you've got to be bold and actually move into it. And so as Marcus talked about, like, bro, everybody here has been moving boldly. People have been taking steps towards their future. And in that, I love that, bro. Like, truly, I love that. I really do. I love that. But also just understand that you've consistently, as you continuously work on yourself, you've got to expand your horizons too. It's one of the reasons why this past week I started my life coaching certification. Like, it's cool enough that, yeah, we founded TGF. Yeah, we got a book club every single day, or excuse me, every single Saturday. Yeah, we got value sessions that we tune into each and every single week. But there's another level of learning that's out there. Like when Rochelle brought up that story between, oh boy, he was like, yo, like go take this class on sales and marketing. At the end of the day, to be a bestseller, you do not have to be the best writer. You got to be a bestseller, period. So you've got to go get outside of your speciality and go get into other spaces where you can, instead of chasing promotions, you can chase skills. And in that, as you chase those skills, you can create the flexibility and creativity that you need as well with these skills that you've acquired in order to actually create the result that you desire. And literally, like for me, it's what I'm doing. One of our biggest pillars to me, bro, is our empowerment sector. I don't want to let that go. I want to take it to a whole nother level, like we've taken trading to another level, like we've taken marketing to another level, like we've taken experiences and events to another level. It's different. And as we take that to another level, I had to literally get out of my own way and be like, yo, I'm going to go take this class to be a life coach. And I'm not going to go take a regular class. I'm going to go find some of the people who are the best at it and then go put me onto who they learned from. And now your boy's about to get the highest level of accreditation that you can get in the United States of America as a coach, business-wise, life-wise, or anything. So in that, you've got to expand consistently. You've got to get around people who are way better than you. My class was full of doctors and professors and people who work at the Minnesota Financial Reserve, or excuse me, the Federal Reserve. Like, you got to get around minds that will actually expand the spaces that you're trying to grow in. And I think that was a main thing here that is in between all the lines. You will not get out of your own way if you are still feeling fear, if you are still feeling cynical. Like, you've literally just got to get out of your own way and take these steps that you low-key are scared to take. And that's why I bring up that last part, is like, what's one bold move? I just want everybody to think on this. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to talk on it. You ain't got to put it in the chat. No, none of that. But what's one bold move that you've been putting off? Like, real life, think about it. And I challenge you over the next 7 days to take steps. And if you can't think of any bold moves, that means you've been moving boldly and you need to continue, period. And God will allow the right things to fall right into your space. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was giving. I don't remember who brought it up earlier, but it's real life. I ain't gonna lie, 24 hours ago, a family member needed help and somebody had just gave something to me. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna just give this to my family member. And it definitely put me in an uncomfortable position over the weekend. But at the same time, I'm grateful. And I know for a fact that that also put me in a mindset. And it's the reason why I have literally 7x of that coming to me on Monday already en route, just transferring over the weekend. It's literally, you can attract the things that you want in your life, but you've got to be okay with letting the things that you have in your life go. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when we're talking about giving your time, your money, y'all, literally after class Wednesday, and then after class Thursday, and then all day yesterday after I dropped my kids off, bro, I was outside doing yard work with one of my clients, prepping for an event that she's throwing this weekend. And in that, I literally told her I would help her out of the goodness of my heart. I wasn't expecting any bread at all whatsoever. I'm like, yo, I will come over there and help you get it together. And ended up being Bob the Builder for the last 48 hours. It was crazy. Your boy literally helped her completely transform her front and backyard from what it used to look like. And in that servitude, I was able to not only one, gain different insights that leveled me up over the week, but also two, she also was able to she paid me. And I was like, dude, I was not expecting this at all. It's all good. I was literally just giving out of the goodness of my heart. And her response was, man, money is a frequency. And I've known this way before the manifestation world became a thing. Like, she's a little older, you know what I'm saying? So in that, she's like, dude, money is a frequency. And if you just tune in and you just consistently give, it will be given unto you. Period. What's crazy is it's biblical, y'all. So, like, when it comes down to it, if you just literally get into a mode of loving paying those bills, loving helping somebody, even if it hurts you a little bit, and just understanding that God's got me, y'all, what that will literally do for you is next level. But also, just as much as your vision is important, your anti-vision is important. So I just want to break it down. If you don't like to give, ain't nobody gonna like giving to yo ass. If you don't like to serve, ain't nobody gonna be loving to serve yo ass. If you do not like to literally give, whether it's resources, whether it's pay money, how do you think that as an entrepreneur you are going to offer a service to people and people are going to want to pay you? Everything in this world is reciprocated. You get what you give. Period. If you care a little bit, you'll receive small results. But if you care a lot, you'll receive big results. Period. So if you care about giving, a lot will be given unto you. If you care a little bit about giving, a little will be given unto you. So I just want to leave that as a thought with everybody as we all continuously go forward in our life, and just understand you were meant to live a life of abundance, and it is coming to you if you want it. And when I say want it, I mean, like, you got to put in the action and have the mindset. There's two pieces to the puzzle about being all in. And if you're all in on giving, if you're all in on serving, you will be given unto and you will be served. Period. And that's a beautiful thing. I've been able to experience this my entire life. It's literally, it's so beautiful, it makes me want to cry right now, because truly, it's a blessing. And you just actually got to get into blessing others and not expecting a blessing. And what will happen is you'll get blessed tenfold, I promise. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and let Imani close us out. I'm excited for it. Let's get it cracking, sis. Go ahead.
All right, I guess I'm gonna follow that. All right. I guess I'm gonna follow those bars down. Honestly, I appreciate that. Everything that you just said. It is like really powerful to walk in that light every single day and give that back, but also like losing that sometimes crippling self-doubt to know that you can 100%. You can give without needing anything in return. You can know that, yes, God has got you. It will come back to you. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to be counting on it, thirsty for it. You could just sit back and relax. So, man, because this week, and I am not the type to get emotional, and I will not be getting emotional today, but just know that inside I am. Um, I just had a very long week where, my corporate team was basically on my ass as if like I just wasn't doing anything right. And it was so fucking hurtful. It was like back to back to back things all week. And I was thinking, I was doubting myself, and I'm starting to go internal, not starting to, but I continue to go internal and think, what is it that's keeping me away from doing my best? And you know what? There's nothing. You know why? Because I intentionally push harder and push harder after the whole mess of work. I went out and I did market research. I got insight. I went and used my skills as just this social woman to go and to hop into people's offices and go and kiki with them and have them tell me all the tea just because one, I'm gonna always give. And that's where like losing that self-doubt. I sometimes think that giving is monetary, and it's not just monetary. It is actually, if you can, even giving a piece of your soul to somebody, sharing your soul with them. And a lot of times I give words of encouragement and love and light. So these people around me, even if I don't even with them like that, I give it to them just because they fucking need it. Me. Sorry. But they need it. They really do. And there's no such thing as evil and good and all this stuff. Like we are here for a reason. Now all the reasons ain't the best kind of reasons, right? But in failure, in pain, in death, there is always life. And it is a cycle. So like we're in here because we want to push the cycle of just everything, just positive, just real positive up in here, growing, going to your highest potential, as we've been talking about throughout this book and the last book we were reading. And so this book, when he talks about, I am in my book, y'all. So when he talks about teaching, so learning something that he says in this book, and I love this little 20 years ago today. The number one fear he says, is in Americans, the number one fear among aging Americans is outliving money, which is crazy because we are really built to, or not built, but we are taught that money is all these evil things. And it's like, nah, we need to be learning how to make the best of everything that comes our way. So he talks about I love this when he was talking about a book that he was releasing, and the person, I don't know, the publishing team was trying to have him change the name, and he's like, "Nah, bro, I'm a seller. That's what I do. I sell. I know what I'm talking about in this book. I'm gonna make some money off of this. This is not a classroom. You're gonna make it this." And of course he's going to sell more. And that's the point, because you got to know people. And sometimes dry titles is not going to get you anywhere. Know people, know how people work so you can target them. And ooh. Okay. So you can target them so you can give them the message. Yeah, the message is for them, not you. Teach what they need, and then also be taught. Learn, grow, and take that knowledge and spread it. So, like, over the years, I mean, I'm almost I think we're almost a little over a year and a half I've been in book club. So, I absolutely love this constant learning, because in these moments when everything seems to be going awfully wrong, I can remember that it is okay to know these things about yourself and learn ways to remove them. So for overcoming cynicism, like the sky is falling, we all have doubts and not really trusting yourself. That is actually crazy work, man. Crazy work, because it can 100% keep us. Oh, and thank you, Mikkel, because yes, I have some things that very bold that I want to do. I mean, so bold that it makes me feel alive every day. When I go to work, I don't feel that. I care. So of course, I'm going to put my best foot forward. But when it comes to the deep passions, it's like, it's time. It's time. You know why? Because we're here. We're in it now. I'm still working on my property. I have not let that go. And it's coming together in pieces, like all the little micro stuff and the details, those are almost done. But now, so we're getting to the big stuff. We're getting to the big picture. And I've been getting so many messages from my guides, from God, just being like, listen, you need to speak out. You need to share this because the people that you help appreciate it deeply. And I want the best for everybody. So why not? I'm already this person. I'm already who I already am, who I want to be. I'm just getting better. And that's the difference. Things that I learned over this week. Just because I've made some mistakes doesn't mean that I cannot pick up in failure. There is progress. So continue to push and continue to accept yourself and know what throws you off inside where you just don't feel like you're in the right vibration and find the way to the vibration you want to be in. And the last thing I'll say is he says school has in the notes because I love these little school has conditioned us to avoid mistakes and punishes students for making them. In the real world, I've learned that mistakes, if acknowledged and evaluated, and used as a tool to make better decisions in the future are invaluable. A little fear can be a healthy thing, but we shouldn't live in fear of making mistakes. Mistakes are a good thing if we find the lessons in every failure. Sort of God, cut it, we done. Because that's it. That's how we're gonna start the week. We're gonna end the week strong. We're gonna start the next week powerful. So, all right. Thank you, sir. Have a good one, y'all. I'm still here, but
You're hilarious, bro. She said, "Thank you, sir." I appreciate you as well for that. For real, those were bars. And I just wanted to say, I challenged everybody to do a bold thing. For me, I just threw it in the chat. Bold thing I did this last week was I finished writing my next book, y'all. It was lit. Yeah, it was like that. I ain't gonna lie to you. Definitely something serious. I'm excited for Squad. Those of you that are married, so I think it's only Jason on the call. I'm pretty sure. But in that, those of you that are married, being a part of TGF, I'm definitely gonna run through this challenge with y'all and gift niggas a little something, something real quick. So in that, y'all, let's continue to be bold. A bold thing I'll be doing this next week is getting that thing on Amazon and published. So we here, next level, game time. So I'll let
hey, can I share a bold thing I got going next week?
please do.
Next week, I have a scheduled appointment with they're like a forest management, and they're gonna do a timber management plan where they go onto my property and they tell me what trees are what's sick, what's alive, what I can replant, what I can cut down, and that will lead me to the path of actually getting a site map to know, okay, this is where I need you to cut down, this is where I need you to cut down, this is where I need you to cut down, and that shit is like no fucking joke for me. Okay. And I said I wasn't going to get emotional, but it's been a hard week. So y'all are not going to catch me like this too many times. But like just hearing that makes me out loud and being able to share with y'all makes me know that I have something to look for every single fucking day. So I appreciate that.
Amen, sis. Amen. I remember you first told me about that joint. You know what I'm saying? It was 2 years ago. So to see you consistently taking steps on that, it's crazy. And I know, like, even for me with this book, bro, writing this thing has been wild. Especially because it's like TGF is lit. I love this, but it's not mine. This is ours. Like we've created this, all of us. Me and Marcus started with a vision and then it expanded. But this book though, literally a culmination of 8 years of work. So I know what it's like to like have a dream, have a vision, and then just keep on working towards it, keep on working towards it. And as things are starting to come into fruition, you're like, whoa, this is crazy. And it brings us like I don't know, it's this weird lump in your chest where it just makes you proud and emotional. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. So in that, grateful for you, you know what I'm saying? Consistently plugging in, consistently growing, consistently battling life. You've been going through the dirt over these last couple of years, literally back to back to back to back. And it's amazing to see you come out in victory every single time. That's who we are. So truly grateful for that. My man Daryl popped on with the camera. Everybody welcome Daryl real quick to the squad. OG, triple OG. I'm excited to meet this man. Literally, Jason was texting me about you in the beginning of the call, bro. So I'm really excited you turned your camera on. I was like, my man's in the energy now. It's gotten real. So if you'd like to, bro, you can definitely unmute real quick. Just kind of share what you've gained from the call and the whole squad. I know you've been in for like 24 hours. You just joined squad like this past couple of days. So,
Yeah. Can y'all hear me?
yes, sir, loud and clear.
All right. I just want to start off by saying congratulations on Mikel and Imani. Like that. That's amazing. Um, my name is Dario Valerio. I'm from New York. I just moved to Boston. And I was seeking when I moved. I was seeking for like a better life. I have a son.
Oh, bro, you got muted real quick. Last thing we heard was you have a son.
I'm 24. I have a son. Where do I start? So I recently got clicked up with Jason, and it's been the best decision I've made because Jason is such a good dude. He's very real. Um, One thing I can say that I can relate to chapter 6 is for a while I got comfortable with where I was when I moved to Boston and the money started like coming in. I stopped being ambitious and I lost sight of my goals. But over time, I realized that comfort was holding me back. I needed to invest in myself again and refocus on what truly matters, becoming the best version of myself, and not just for me, but for my future as a father and as a leader in my life. And I just wanted to point out something from the book that Robert, I can't say his last name. I ain't gonna
Kiyosaki. You're
lie.
good.
Robert Kiyosaki, he explains that most people let fear, especially the fear of losing money, stop them from pursuing financial opportunities. He stresses that learning to manage fear and think differently about money is key to achieving financial freedom. And the reason why I pointed that out is because for a while, like I I didn't look at money as like so I got closer to God at one point, and that made me look at money like money was evil. And I had to realize like money is some. You have to look at money as if it's something good. Like it's like with the vibrations. Damn, my bad. I'm a little shy when it comes to shit like this.
Bro, you're good. It's okay. No thing. That's literally what this space is for, man. It's a safe space for the squad. So ain't no thing. Trust and believe, bro. We've all been there. You know what I'm saying? All had a first time on book club. You know what I'm saying?
um, I I had to convince my brain that money isn't always bad. Like money can be used for bad things, but it can also be used for good things. It can be used to get you where you need to be, but it can also be used to get you to where you don't want to be. And you have to make that choice whether you want to use it to get you to where you don't want to be or where you do want to be. And that's just how I look at money now. Before I just thought it was just straight evil, but now I think very differently about money, and money can be used to invest in yourself, which is more important than anything. You have to invest in yourself, you have to love yourself, you have to find who you truly are. And the only way you do that is by investing in yourself. It's crazy because I was having this conversation yesterday with my boy, and I was having this conversation with Mario yesterday. I was like, yo, bro, like you gotta really love yourself, bro. Like it's crazy. And damn, this is
Hey, you're good. This is growth. That's what that is. Congratulations and welcome.
Word. So I'm at the sidetrack. I'm at the sidetrack real quick. So a couple of days ago, I I had to resign from my job, and I didn't feel like shit. Like I felt good. I was putting in the work. I was doing everything I had to do, but I knew in my mind like, yo, like I can get kicked to the like I could get kicked to the side whenever. You know, you get what I'm saying? Like they love me now, but they can easily just be like, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing to put in perspective. Like you have to want to be your own boss at the end of the day, because you don't want people controlling whether you get the next paycheck or not. You have to really like you have to create a system where you discipline yourself and you basically just follow. Damn.
You muted yourself again, bro. It's okay. I don't know if that was on purpose or not. It's okay, brother.
I think I'm gonna just end it on. I'm gonna end it on that. To be continued. To be continued.
TBD. We'll see you next week. Here, real quick, I'm gonna stop the recording. Don't hop off yet, though. Bye, y'all.